total solar eclipse happens somewhere on the planet every 18 months or so, but the one we'll experience on August 21st is extraordinary. A rare cross-country trip of the century will become a celestial event for the history books.
It's a cosmic show usually seen from space, but soon the best view will be on American soil, a total solar eclipse, the first one that will be seen in the U.S. in decades.
This is a 99-year event. It's been 99 years since a total solar eclipse crossed the entire U.S. from the west coast to the east coast.
On August 21st, the moon will pass between the sun and Earth. Its shadow will race across the country at an average speed of about 1,500 miles an hour, covering a swath roughly 70 miles wide. Day will turn to night, and temperatures will drop as much as 25 degrees. Here in the Philadelphia area, we'll see a partial eclipse. The sun will be about 80% covered. It'll begin at 1:20 p.m. and peak at 2:44 p.m.
These cosmic moments when nature speaks to us in an emotional way sometimes come loud, like thunderstorms, storms, like hurricanes, earthquakes. But this one will be silent.
Total eclipse spectators will have a chance to view the sun's corona. That area expels electromagnetic energy and matter into the solar system, which can have a real-world impact here on Earth.
It messes with GPS, with communication systems, even power grids.
It can also mess with your eyes.
The sun is way too bright for your eyes. Do enjoy it, but be safe.
The best way to enjoy the spectacle is with special viewing glasses. And as our Eclipse Fest coverage continues this week, we'll share ways for you to watch this historic event safely with your family.
On August 21st, a total solar eclipse will be seen in 14 states, starting in Oregon and ending in South Carolina. Because the United States is the only country that will experience this, some are calling it the Great American Eclipse, and a lot of people are anxious to see it.
It's like something that you look forward to, like a benchmark in your life, seeing the eclipse.
On Monday morning, Neil deGrasse Tyson, noted astrophysicist and author, led a discussion about the eclipse at the American Museum of Natural History. The tri-state area is not in the 70-mile wide path of totality, meaning we won't see a total solar eclipse. But if skies are clear, all we have to do is step outside, turn our eyes to the sky to see the moon block about 70% of the sun. Some New Yorkers say it sounds amazing, but they probably won't be watching.
I know I don't have any time.
So you're not going to see it?
No, I don't see it.
Experts say even if you aren't really a science enthusiast, this is one event that people in the tri-state area just shouldn't miss.
People write poems about the idea of standing in somebody's shadow. And on August 21st, you get to stand in the shadow of the moon.
If getting the protective glasses and finding a viewing party sounds like too much work, Tyson suggests a simpler way to enjoy the eclipse.
Go into your kitchen and get a spaghetti strainer or a colander. Not the mesh, the kind with holes in it. Go outside and hold that up over the ground. Each one of those holes will act as a pinhole camera, and you'll see hundreds of images of the crescent sun on the ground.
In the tri-state area, the best viewing will happen around 2:44 Monday afternoon. But don't be late. It only lasts for about 2 minutes.
Well, the excitement for the total solar eclipse is building as people all around the country are preparing to watch the moon completely eclipse the sun.
We purchased Eclipse glasses, which we've been giving away in droves to local schools.
Now, it happens Monday morning with many viewing parties scheduled to take place.
CBS 13's Carlos Correa is in Stockton for us tonight, where one group says it has already seen the benefits from the eclipse.
Yeah, members of Stockton's Astronomical Society say they are getting the opportunity to share their passion of astronomy with more people than ever before, and they're using Monday's eclipse to educate the community. With the 2017 total solar eclipse fast approaching, members of the Stockton Astronomical Society are making sure each of their telescopes are ready to go for Monday's big event.
And for that path to go clear across the United States is a fairly rare event.
The society was started back in 1950 by a Stockton surgeon who was also a prominent amateur astronomer. Society leaders say club interest didn't start picking up until people started learning of the eclipse's path this year.
Much more. We purchased Eclipse glasses, which we've been giving away in droves to local schools.
This is 10
1042 maybe?
No, 1030.
Besides eclipse shades and telescopes with hydrogen alpha filter, the Society has a picture of what people here in Stockton will experience from first contact to last.
So they're actually going to watch from beginning to end. They're watching the moon move that way, but at the same time, the sun looks like it's moving this way.
The best part of Monday's eclipse, members say, is getting the chance to create solar filters for their telescopes, which is the same material used on those special glasses.
It's blocking off 99.9999, I think, % of all visible light and ultraviolet and so forth.
And the Society will be hosting a big viewing party on the campus of Delta College on Monday morning, and everyone is invited. They're also providing these eclipse glasses to watch the entire action. Back to you.
Carlos, thanks. Of course, we've been talking about this for weeks now. For the first time since 1979, the U.S. will get a glimpse of a total solar eclipse.
During August's total solar eclipse, skies over the U.S. will darken in the middle of the day, giving scientists a chance for some rare research.
It's very hard to fake the thing that the eclipse does for us. In blocking out the sun, it's able to make it so we have a dark sky. But you can't do that from the ground with just, putting up your hand and making it dark.
Researchers will fan out across the U.S. to gather what's expected to be some of the most detailed data on solar eclipses ever, from its effects on Earth's atmosphere to subtle evidence of relativity. We'll explain. When the moon blocks the sun's light, we can measure how the mass of the sun bends light from stars on its far side. Our telescopes are much better than they were in 1919, when scientists first used an eclipse to study relativity.
And that allows us to test the details, not just does general relativity pan out? We know it does. We've already done that. But what are the details of how light is affected by gravity?
And maybe most importantly, scientists will study the few parts of the sun that are usually too bright to see.
If we want to study either the corona, which is the extended atmosphere of the sun, or the stuff that's closest into the sun, we absolutely have to do it during an eclipse. And if we want to do it from the ground, we have to do it from an eclipse.
That's partly why scientists are still trying to answer questions about the corona, like how it reaches its sizzling temperatures.
And we don't fully understand where the energy comes from to heat it up so much. Now, we're pretty sure it's to do with the magnetic field, but we don't know for sure. What we're able to do during an eclipse with looking at the corona is looking at how does the sun, how does it give energy to the corona?
They'll be racing against the clock, too. When the moon completely obscures the sun, astronomers and astrophysicists usually have less than 3 minutes to gather critical data. But observers in the US are lucky. We haven't seen an eclipse this thorough since 1918. And this time, our technology lets us combine observations from the eclipse's entire path.
Instead of getting the couple of minutes that you get of darkness, we can make it seem like we have 90 minutes, like the whole time it takes to go across.
This August, the U.S. will experience what's being dubbed by some as the Great American Eclipse. The first total solar eclipse seen from the U.S. coast to coast in nearly a century. While a partial eclipse will be visible to most U.S. states, skywatchers are expected to flock here, the path of totality, the only area where a total eclipse can be seen.
A total eclipse is something that everybody should put on their bucket list because it's one of the most remarkable scenes in all of nature.
A solar eclipse happens when the moon passes between the Earth and the sun, casting areas of the Earth's surface in darkness. It shouldn't be confused with the more common lunar eclipse, where the Earth passes between the moon and the sun. A total eclipse happens in 5 phases. The first phase begins as the moon makes first contact with the sun. The second phase occurs moments before the moon totally encompasses the sun. Sunlight escapes past the moon's peaks and valleys, causing the diamond ring effect and Bailey's beads.
That dazzling diamond shrinks down and gets fainter and fainter, and finally that remaining little crescent breaks up into a string of bright beads.
The third phase, totality, is the only time that the sun's outermost atmosphere, the corona, can be viewed. The fourth phase happens as totality ends and the moon begins moving away from the sun's path, when viewers can again observe the diamond ring effect and Bailey's beads. Fifth phase occurs as the eclipse ends. A total solar eclipse happens every year or two in any given area across the globe. On average, though, it only passes one location in the northern hemisphere every 375 years or so. The event will give scientists in the U.S. a rare opportunity to study the sun as well.
Certainly one of the biggest mysteries about the sun's corona is its temperature. As you travel away from the sun's surface and move up through the corona, you should expect the temperature to go down, but it doesn't. It goes up.
The next total solar eclipse to hit the U.S. is expected in April 2024.
And that one begins in the Pacific, crosses into Mexico, and then it cuts into the United States in Texas, up through Indiana and up into Ohio and through the New England states and southern Canada. Now, because that happens in April, the weather prospects for that aren't as good as this one in August.
But if you want to be there for the great American eclipse, it's August or never.
There will be a rare total solar eclipse.
But all this week at 6 o'clock, we're previewing the eclipse with a series of special reports. Jennifer Kastner finds out where and when will be the best time to see the eclipse.
A total solar eclipse is an extraordinary event, probably the most spectacular thing you'll ever see in the sky.
Astronomer Dr. Ed Krupp is the director of the renowned Griffith Observatory.
So this is a three-dimensional model that allows us to show how an eclipse takes place.
He's been waiting all his life for an eclipse like the one that's just days away. What's being called the Great American Solar Eclipse happens the morning of Monday, August 21st. The excitement comes from its rarity. It's been almost 100 years since a total solar eclipse crossed the United States from coast to coast.
It's such a powerful and awe-inspiring event that people from all over the world are coming to the U.S. to see it as well.
An eclipse happens when the moon blocks the sun, briefly turning day into night. The path of totality, where it completely blocks the sun, will start in Oregon and make a diagonal line down to South Carolina, covering 12 states in between. Amy Nespor and her kids are planning a trip.
We're actually flying out to Colorado and then driving to Nebraska with some friends to go see it.
Because this is the first solar eclipse I've ever seen in my life.
Southern Californians will only see a partial eclipse starting at about 9 in the morning.
But then as it proceeds, we eventually get to the point about 10:21 in the morning where we're at maximum eclipse in Los Angeles. That's about 60% or so of the area of the sun covered up. And then gradually the moon retreats from the disk of the sun. It's all over by 11:44.
The observatory will be open on the big day, and they're going to have staff members here doing play-by-plays. They're also going to be selling these solar filters so you can safely view the eclipse.